Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm your presenter Mervin. Thank you for joining us. Coming up, government announces that the ICT strategy is nearing completion. Tourism officials prepare to launch a crisis management plan, and a development plan for the OECS discussed at the 57th meeting of the OECS Authority. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after the break.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day. Only on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Plans are underway by the current administration to improve the island's seaports. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit told GIS News Wednesday that loan funds will be sourced from the government of China for its $3 billion allocation to the OECS countries.
Even at the port level, too, we have to do a new port. The Woodbridge Bay port is less than adequate. It has surpassed its usefulness. The issues of its own integrity at this time, and the port had done a survey of the needs there, and they have submitted a request for funding from the government to see how we can fund it. So that's another project which I'm giving consideration to, where the port itself could apply for a loan, obviously guaranteed by the state to the Chinese for the expansion of the port, and let us build a port that can last us for the next 50, 60 years, and not a port that can last us for 1 year. So I'm looking towards that, and because even the proposal submitted to us by the port, we may have to expand it and do a much bigger port to make way for future expansion of the Dominican economy.
In other news, there are plans by the Ministry of Tourism to develop a crisis management plan. This was confirmed on Wednesday by Tourism Minister Honorable Ian Douglas as he addressed a media briefing at the DFC office in Roseau. The management plan will detail clear guidelines on the manner in which mishaps in the tourism industry are addressed.
Even you in the media and other relevant stakeholders that I have just mentioned, like the law enforcement and the police officers, the fire and rescue, the ambulance and the health and emergency personnel, and even persons in DHTA, the private sector stakeholders, can pick up that manual and say, this is how we handle situations that arise from time to time, and this is the protocol that we will follow. This is how the public sector and the private sector and other stakeholders will collaborate on handling those issues. So the crisis management plan will be formulated, and at the launching of the plan, we'll probably call the media in again and do a formal launching so that everybody can be sensitized and can know and can be knowledgeable on the crisis management plan and know what our roles and responsibilities are in the occurrence of an incident.
Heads of government of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States met in Antigua from June 2nd to the 4th for the 57th meeting of the OECS Authority. The authority, which consists of prime ministers and chief ministers, is the highest policy-making body in the sub-regional integration movement. Dominica's Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit told GIS News Wednesday that one of the matters discussed at the two-day meeting was a development plan for the OECS.
We have to address issues of growth. Of course, you have to address issues of fiscal policy and so forth, and debt sustainability and other things. But growth is also important, and we have been over the last couple of years been developing the growth agenda for the OECS, particularly as we're moving towards the economic union, where we believe that we have to try to synchronize our policies as far as practically possible, and share best practices, and I think I also identify some of the common challenges and find common solutions to them, because some of the challenges which we confront, we can't do it alone. And And so that was very constructive, you know, and a number of areas have been highlighted. You're talking about financial services, you're talking about agriculture, tourism, of course agriculture, fisheries goes along with it, information technology, the issue of our own security, because if you don't have security in the country or in the Caribbean or the OECS, you're going to have challenges with having the level of economic activity that you would like to have.
The OECS heads also held discussions with representatives of the private sector. The representatives spoke of their challenges and suggested how the governments of the region could assist.
So there's very constructive discussions. Some good ideas came from the private sector. Obviously, there's some fine-tuning to be done by them in terms of reviewing some of the proposals and being more accurate with some of the submissions. But one of the things I would like to point out, and was pointed out at the meeting, was that you know, you don't hear the larger private sector entities, you know. So we like to see, because people talk about the private sector, but I guess sometimes, as one Prime Minister put it, the larger shareholder investors normally has direct access to the ministers of finance and so on, so they don't need to be part of any organization, which is unfortunate, you know. But I think because their own critical mass would add great value to the discussions at the local private sector level, and of course being able to better formulate ideas and suggestions for government's consideration.
In more news, the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health has stepped up its public awareness drive to reduce the number of tobacco smokers on the island. The unit is collaborating with the National Drug Abuse Prevention Unit in this effort and has begun an intensive community outreach program to sensitize members of the public on the dangers of smoking tobacco. Anphilia James, coordinator of the Health Promotion Unit, said on Thursday that this outreach comes on the heels of World No Tobacco Day, which was observed on May 31st this year under the theme Ban Tobacco Advertising, Promotion and Sponsorship.
This year for World No Tobacco Day 2013, we are actually focusing on raising awareness of the general population on the dangers of tobacco smoke, as we do every year. But this year we are taking a specific slant in the fact that apart from doing some media awareness, we are also looking to go out to the communities to talk to the communities, to have one-on-one discussions with persons in the communities so that they could get the information that we are giving on the dangers of tobacco, and so that they could be an informed public, so that they could make informed decisions about the use of tobacco products.
James says the harmful effects of tobacco products on the body is one of the major messages which the unit is hoping to get across to the population through this awareness campaign.
The message is that the use of tobacco products is dangerous to your health. It is harmful to your health. It gets us sick, but it does not only get the person who uses it sick, but also those who do not use it. So we need people to be aware of this. Yes, you might love to smoke because of the addiction of it, but think about the persons that you love. For example, your children, your wives, your colleagues, and so they are not smoking, but they can also get sick. So that is what we are letting people know. Be responsible in your behavior and help to protect the health of others as well as yourself.
Local statistics on tobacco smoking in Dominica suggest that 10% of the population uses tobacco products. The Health Promotion Unit is alarmed by these statistics, citing that it's very high compared to countries of greater populations.
But when we think of the number of persons in our population, we have a population of 72,000. That is high, you know. When we compare our usage of tobacco, let's say to a country like Australia, which has millions of people, that has a consumption of 16%, and the US about 19%. So where do we sit and we say, well, you know, we don't smoke. But that's not really the fact. We do smoke compared to our population. Persons are more exposed. Because also from the information we have, over 60% we did with the school children. Over 60%, 60 out of 100 students say that they are exposed to tobacco smoke. So that shows that we are a smoking nation.
Dominica has signed on to international law, which is the World Health Organization's Framework Convention for Tobacco Control, which commits the country to enact laws and policies to protect people from the harmful effects of tobacco smoke. So far, the government of Dominica has put in place a policy to raise taxes on tobacco products to 75%. The Ministry of Health is now in the process of looking at fine-tuning recommendations for legislation dealing with the protection of persons from second-hand smoke. The government of Dominica is taking steps to introduce to all citizens the use of information communication technology through an ICT development strategy. During his address at Wednesday's press launch of ICT Fest 2013, Parliamentary Secretary with responsibility for ICT, Honorable Kelva Daru, announced that this strategy is nearing completion.
We are in the final stages of the development of an e-government strategy that identifies the need to be more constituent-centric and achieve greater integration and collaboration with other stakeholders. This higher level of integrated alliance will contribute significantly to the establishment of a supportive environment that is conducive to innovative and risk-taking.
The government is confident that ICT offers countless opportunities for innovation and entrepreneurship, hence the reason for the strategy. The government intends to expose all Dominicans to the varied uses of ICT, and the ministry's websites are fully functional and accessible. Honorable Dara revealed that government's e-government strategy identifies the need for greater integration and collaboration with other stakeholders, which includes the use of e-banking and filing tax returns online, all of which are efforts to make use of ICT.
Government has been creating an enabling environment for the adoption of e-government over the past few years, with increasing success. Government and ministries' websites are up and running, a key milestone in the journey to an information and paperless society.
The Parliamentary Secretary also stated that the innovative minds of the youth can help make Dominica a competitive force in the international market, and hopes that the ICT Fest will aid them in developing constructive skills.
The importance for young people to continue to use ICT in a positive light, because information technology, the internet, can be a double-edged sword. While it is very good for research, while it is very good to seek information, to share information, also as a social means, we cannot deny the fact that sometimes our young people use it destructively. And I want to send out a strong message this morning, particularly to young people, that they need to use the internet and information technology constructively to build and to develop on the skills that they have.
Honorable Daru also noted the willingness of local telecommunications companies to participate in the ICT Fest, which serves to provide an interactive environment for citizens to learn to use ICT as it relates to everyday life and showcase ICT tools and solutions. He affirmed that the partnership for trade is important to the success of the ICT Fest.
One of the greatest highlights of this launch is the partnership exhibited today between the government of Dominica, Lime Dominica, and Mapping 2K4 in undertaking ICT Fest 2013.
The Parliamentary Secretary further mentioned that investments, products, services and experts are vital resources to help implement concrete ICT development policies, which is critical to compete with the international market. The Environmental Coordinating Unit has collaborated with the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation and the JICA Alumni Association of Dominica to implement the 3 hours Reduce, Reuse, Recycle pilot project at the Goodwill Primary School. The project was officially launched at the school in February this year with the aim of teaching students how reducing, reusing and recycling waste can be good for the environment. The project also has a composting component which teaches young people that food does not have to be regarded as waste. Camille Libla of the Division of Agriculture has been assisting the students with the school composting project.
We set up a compost unit there in collaboration with Solid Waste. The whole idea is like, because youth they want to do planting, and they have a school feeding program. They want to take care of the vegetables, but then they keep on asking, the schools and keep on asking for compost or soil. And like when we came, we saw the potential that they could have a compost unit there. So solid waste contacted us, and then we designed a structure, a free bin structure we call it, and we've seen the material, we're using the materials, all the material there came from the yard. We have rabbit dung there, some brown trash from after they cut the lawn and they let the grass stay to dry, and then the fresh ones.
Libla took time to explain how the composting project works.
Compost is a process where you have greens and browns, where you have carbon and nitrogen. The browns are the carbon and the greens are nitrogen. You have to get them in a balance where you mix them, and then you can add as much as you can. Now the structure they have there, they're going to have a cut-off period. So when they keep on adding grass, dry and the green grass with rabbit manure, they're going to have a cut-off period, like for instance at that height. From there, and then every time you add materials, you need to turn it. The most important thing about it, to keep the process, because there are microorganisms and macroorganisms breaking down the materials. So after we just set a certain height, they take all the materials in that bin and then they shift it to that bin. Now they continue with that bin, they start with that bin and they start again. Now, when both bins are level heights, the water in that, by the time we take those in that bin there, send to that one, within an 8 weeks period, 2 months, you have soil, everything gets turned back to soil.
A similar project was recently done at the Alpha Center and the Mao Primary School. Libla says the school composting project is geared at encouraging students to undertake backyard gardening at their homes.
We installed one at the Goodwill Primary School to give the students a zeal, so they can not just plant in the crop, but then they know they can create their soil. They can take the soil. They can even take it home to plant in their backyard. Because Alpha Center is a surprise to me, because like we started the program a couple years ago, and now for Maho school program we had to buy soil and compost from Alpha Center to do a program in Maho. So like it could bring a level of finance for the school and also enhance the students and them in the agriculture project and with the school feeding program.
As part of activities marking World Environment Day on Wednesday, students of the Goodwill Primary School put on a special exhibition to showcase what they have been learning as it relates to their composting project. The exhibition showcased how waste products can be reused. And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce joins us next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, gouvernement People's Republic of China qui bat pays Caraïbes $3 billion en loan. Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt fait parole qui Dominique fait application pour taper en l'argent salam. Honorable Skerritt fait parole qui l'argent salam qui est dépensé pour projet infrastructure.
Président China aussi dit qu'il fait qu'il mettait en place $3 billions américains pour 9 pays Caraïbes. Ça c'est un loan, ça c'est l'argent pour prêter. So, mais c'est à 2% interest. Ok, on est en période grâce 5 années. So, nous qui faisons une application pour taper l'argent hot ça pour adresser conditions chimiques East Dominica pour casser pour aller pays Caraïbes pour aller Jacques Pégua pour virer casser brousse là pour casser brousse pour aller Petit Soufrière on peut prendre Hordam bus stop là pour Emerald pour descendre Rosalie road là pour aller La Plaine pour aller Délice. Et puis on a problème en Petite Savane et puis problème en Dubic. So nous regardons comme ça comment l'argent nous connaît pour nous avons besoin pour adresser problème ça là en pays whole East pays là. Puis là regardez comme chemin là plusieurs l'Afrique tombée là au glo on le défalement et puis et tout ça là. So nous pour adresser problème ça là en de manière tout le monde qui est satisfait.
En autre nouvelle, ministre touriste Honorable Ian Douglas, qui a fait parole qui est bien satisfait de activité pour observer mois touriste passer bien. Ministre Douglas dit mois touriste organisé pour sensibiliser le monde, recogniser comment l'industrie touriste est bien important pour l'économie pays là. Plusieurs activités prennent place en parmi congrès jeunesse, un cocktail, symposium yachting en parmi d'autres. Comme le ministre Douglas dit qu'ils ont fait yachting comme autant l'argent en pays là, et puis il a fait bonne contribution pour les affaires regatta. Honorable Douglas aussi fait parole que le ministre Tourisme qui a gardé management cruise et puis les affaires crisis management, bagaille en manuel qui a servi comme guide, ça qui lancé tout de suite. Secteur privé et puis public qui collaborent en affaires initiatives cela. Ministre Douglas dit trainement sécurité qui a concerné destination là, quand a pris attention. Et l'autre bagaille, ministre touriste qui travaille, c'est l'honorable Douglas, c'est 80 000 visiteurs qui ont été par l'année 2015. En autre nouvelle, Dominique observe une journée internationale pour sensibiliser le public là contre le danger tabac. C'est le chef département de drogue Dominique Jacinthe Banes, qui a collaboré avec le département promotion santé en EFOSALA.
Vendredi 31, nous observons une journée pour contre tabac, pour empêcher les gens de servir tabac, pour avoir information, pour faire savent dangereux tabac, ainsi koyo, ainsi communio, ainsi famille. So nous tenons une commission acting minister Mouché Dr. Colin McIntyre, lady, et puis nous allons à CDBS faire commission, et puis aujourd'hui nous avons fait un programme, so nous avons mis à la TVA pour nous savoir ce qu'il a fait. L'année ça c'est une presse on l'a année UN qui a célébré jeunesse là et puis on l'a pays pas Dominique tout seul mais tout en la terre mon qui observé jeunesse là et puis l'année ça là nous regarder quand ça quoi les Berlin et puis pour mon empêcher mon advertise les produits tobacco puis là où mettez produits en public là les commissions qui a venu pour monde et pas une commission qui doit so nous a dit dans ça là nous a UN et puis tout l'autre pays qui a dit si mon ka vend cigarette je pour mettre commission qui ba public là bon avis.
Et puis finalement, l'Office CDMA a complémenté l'Office qui a une responsabilité pour faire des désastres en Dominique ODM pour manier yoka agir et puis management des désastres. Executive Director CDMA Ronald Jackson fait parole cela pendant l'Office des désastres Dominique qui a lancé semaine des désastres. Et des affaires des désastres, ce n'est pas responsabilité du gouvernement ou bien l'Office des désastres, mais tout le monde en ces différentes communautés là, il y a aussi besoin de points bien sérieux. Jackson aussi complimenté l'Office des désastres pour préparation bien bonheur pour saison cyclone. Et aussi crié à tout le monde en Dominique pour apprendre compte mauvais coup de temps et puis engager corps ailleurs pour toute précaution sinon mauvais coup de temps. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, your tip of the day.
Scary. Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking, then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SIDERA.
Today we tell you what you should do during a lightning storm. Look for a large enclosed building when a thunder or lightning storm threatens. If you are in a car and it has a hard top, stay inside and keep the windows rolled up. Avoid small sheds or partial shelters. Stay at least a few feet away from open windows, sinks, toilets, tubs, showers, electric boxes, outlets, and appliances. Lightning can flow through these systems and jump to a person. Do not shower or take a bath during a thunder or lightning storm. Avoid using regular telephones except in an emergency. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin Matthew. Thank you for watching.